Hey guys, it's Mr. Ollie, and I hope you're doing well. It's time for another First Chapter Friday, and this one is for all grades K through 5, because we've got a very special thing happening on April 27th. This author is going to be talking to you guys via Google Meet or Zoom in all the grades K through 5 coming up again April 27th. So we're very much looking forward to it. The book is called The Unicorn Rescue Society, The Creature of the Pines, and it's written by Adam Gidwitz. Thanks to the PTA, they're doing some book giveaways, and we're going to get copies for the Eye Center as well. He's a great author and is interested in a lot of the same kind of things that I am. So I'm really looking forward to this event. We're going to read you the first couple chapters just to get you excited. If you've already read some of his work, cool. If not, you're going to want to, because they're great books. Chapter 1. Elliot Eisner stood at the front of the bus, looking down the long aisle. Every seat was full. The other children scowled at him. At least, Elliot was pretty sure they were scowling at him. He was the new kid, starting school 3 weeks into the new school year. Who starts a new school 3 weeks into the year? He thought. 3 weeks. It's far too late to make friends. The year is practically over. Elliot considered turning around and walking back to his new house, where his mom and grandma were unpacking boxes. But that would just make things worse. Tomorrow, when he was forced to come back to school, he would be the kid who'd flipped out and run away on his first day. Not a good first impression. Worst of all, his class was going on a field trip on his very first day at school. Things just weren't supposed to work like that. He wasn't prepared. Elliot sighed and began to walk slowly down the length of the bus. Maybe there were a couple of empty seats in the back. The kids stared at him. He slouched past. They think I'm a weirdo. This made no sense. Elliot was not a weirdo. He was a normal kid. A little pale, kind of skinny, lots of curly brown hair, pretty normal. But Elliot did not feel normal. Not on his first day at a new school. On a field trip he was not prepared for, surrounded by kids he did not know. There were some empty seats in the back. One was next to a big boy with a shaved head, who smiled at him and then farted. Elliot would not be sitting there. There was a seat next to a girl who was digging in her nose like she'd lost something. Then she found it. Elliot would not be sitting there either. Finally, he saw a seat in the very last row next to a girl who looked like the lead singer in a punk rock band. She wore a gray jean jacket and gray jeans and red high tops, and her hair was an explosion of black twists. The girl was rocking back and forth like she was listening to music, but there were no earphones in her ears. This one's hosting her own silent disco, Elliot thought. But at least she's not finding buried treasure up her nose or playing the tuba through her butt. He sat down next to her. She stopped rocking. "Hi," she said. "I'm Uchenna." "I'm Elliot. I'm new here." "Obvious." Elliot silently shouted at himself. "Don't say things that are obvious. This is my first day. Everybody knows that. Even though school started 3 weeks ago. Why are you stating facts that everyone knows?" Uchenna said, "I was new last year. I didn't start school till after Christmas." "You see, she already..." "Wait, what?" Then Elliot said, "I thought I was the only hapless weirdo starting a new school in the middle of the year." Uchenna threw her head back and laughed. "No," she said, "there's two of us." And that is how Elliot Eisner and Uchenna Devereaux became friends. Chapter 2. The class's teacher was Miss Vole. Elliot liked to memorize books about animals. It was one of his hobbies, so he knew that voles are kind of like mice, but even smaller, with tiny eyes and plump little bodies. As Miss Vole stood up from her seat at the front of the bus, Elliot leaned over to Uchenna and whispered, "Isn't it weird that she looks just like her name?" Uchenna smiled. "I think about that all the time." Miss Vole cleared her voice. "Now, children, she said. She spoke like they were in kindergarten. She made her eyes very large, and if her voice got any higher, only dogs would be able to hear her. Children, I expect you to be on your very best behavior. Very best was just about in dogs-only territory. We have a special guest with us today for our field trip. Uchenna put her fingers in her ears so her eardrums wouldn't explode. Elliot snickered and did the same. Miss Vole went on. His name is Professor Fauna. It sounded like fauna. Can you say Professor Fauna? Why wouldn't we be able to say that? Elliot whispered. Uchenna laughed and then shoved her fist into her mouth to stifle the sound. Professor Fauna, the children chanted. And then the professor stepped onto the bus, and it was as if a shadow had fallen over the whole class. Uchenna stopped laughing at once. Elliot gripped the green vinyl of the seat. The professor was tall, with a thick beard that was half black, half gray. His hair stood up from his scalp like he was in the habit of kissing electric eels. He wore a threadbare tweed suit and leather shoes that looked like they had been really fancy once, long ago. Buenos dias, mis amigos, he said. His voice sounded like someone had put rocks in a blender. Uchenna leaned over to Elliot. She wasn't smiling anymore. He's a social studies teacher here. Everyone's terrified of him. They say he's totally unhinged from reality. Is he dangerous? Elliot asked. He didn't like things that were dangerous, unless they were animals, and he only liked dangerous animals if he was memorizing facts about them from a book. Uchenna shrugged. Maybe. Good morning, said Professor Fauna, and he rolled his R's so much, morning had 4 syllables. I am Mito Fauna. You may call me Professor Fauna, Dr. Fauna, or Dr. Fauna, since I am both a doctor of veterinary medicine with a specialty in large and rare species, and a doctor of philosophy with a specialty in global mythology. In Germany, they call me Herr Dr. Professor, but you do not need to do that because it takes too long and it sounds silly. Also, I'm not German, but Peruvian. Do you understand? Every child said no at exactly the same time. Excellent, the professor replied, evidently not hearing them. Miss Vole has asked me to be your guide today on this field trip to the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. You will listen to me. All the children nodded. You will do what I say. They still nodded. If not, you will die. The children sat straight up in their seats. Not that I will kill you, Professor Fauna added, but there are many dangerous things in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, so be careful and do exactly as I tell you. No one on the bus said a word, but silently, every child decided that, yes, they better do whatever this terrifying teacher said. Let's take a look at him, too. So there you have it. The Unicorn Rescue Society. The creature of the pines, Adam Gidwitz, is gonna be visiting us virtually coming up on April 27th. We are so excited. It's gonna be a good time. And PTA is giving away some books as well. They got a contest happening. So keep watching for all the information, and we're very excited to welcome Mr. Gidwitz here next week. All right, have a great weekend. Thank you guys for listening. 4th grade, thank you for sharing First Chapter Friday with the rest of the school. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hmm.